Hello, guys, welcome to this podcast, Everyday Talkies, which ironically does not come out daily. I am Anshul and I talk about random things to random people, majorly about life, perspectives, and thinking process. It's like an interview, or let's say more of a conversation with one or two guests about random topics that interest us. To be really honest, it's just a way to reduce my inhibitions in talking to people. So come join me and enjoy. Hello, guys, welcome to the new episode of Everyday Talkies, or should I say Everyday Trekkies, right?
Haha, you should.
So, we're back again with Pushkar discussing the 7th episode of Lower Decks. And I think, what's the name of this episode?
It's called Much Ado About Boimler.
Much Ado About Boimler. So, let's start with a tradition and read the IMDb shitty description. Mariner tries to impress her best friend from Starfleet Academy, who is now a visiting captain. Boimler is sent to a Starfleet medical ship after a transporter accident puts him out of phase. So, again?
Wait. Oh, but the first one is like straight up wrong.
Yes, actually, it is. But yeah. Well, we can't really. That's why I told them, right? They should pay us to write it. But let's not focus too much on that and directly jump into the episode. Okay, give me your first impressions.
I really like this episode. I mean, it wasn't the best episode, it wasn't the worst, but it was up there, it was off the best episodes of the show. I really liked it. All the plots were really good, and I liked, how they changed things up a little bit in this episode. What about you?
I think it was one of my favorite episodes. Obviously, not the ones. Like, the fourth episode was really good. I think just below that, I would say there were so many things happening, so many new concepts, and again, as you know about me, like if I see something new, I'm usually hooked to that one. There were so many new things which you don't really see with Star Trek in general, but there were so many references also. So okay, we'll go by section. Let's control my excitement.
Yeah, dude, this episode was packed.
Yes, it was. So okay, let's start with plot.
It was like a two plot structure, and where usually there's a C plot. This time the C plot was kind of kept under wraps because it was a secret mission to plant seeds.
Yeah, like this episode was, and you could see weird pairings as well, because we saw Tendi and Boimler undertake a plot, and then we had Mariner in her own plot as well. Rutherford got very less screen time in this one, except the few instances which we will talk surely.
Yeah, Rutherford was the reason this episode kind of started, and then it was like that's all his role was.
Yes. So which one did you like more? Which plot did you enjoy more?
I think I like both of them equally. I mean, they were both really good.
So let's start with the Tendi one, because it seems that our favorite character is her. So why don't you talk about that plot?
I mean, yes, definitely. And actually, I really like Boimler in this episode too. So, okay, what happens is, we can't talk about the B plot without talking about the A plot. So what happens is, because the captain, the first officer, and Shax have gone on this secret mission, there's a substitute captain coming in, to look after the ship in the meantime. And, Mariner calls her a babysitter captain. But anyway, so because this new captain is coming, Boimler is obviously he wants to impress her and kiss her ass as much as he can. And to that end, he goes to Rutherford and he's like, does my hair look promotable? But then he ends up helping Rutherford in an experiment, in an effort to impress the captain, and ends up, in usual Star Trek manner, getting into an accident and turning all translucent blue and making weird sounds.
Well, the sound got fixed ultimately, but the out of phase question was something which led them to their plot into Division 14, the medical ship.
Yes, Division 14. I mean, I thought Section 31 used to be scary, but Division 14 is somehow like scarier.
Like, the ship is scarier for sure, but the end product, well, that was a surprise, no doubt. But just to touch up, why don't you complete the plot and then, we'll discuss these weird things as it comes out.
Okay, yeah. So while this plot is going on, the A plot is the substitute captain who comes in to babysit the ship. It's actually Mariner's old friend from the academy called Amina, and she's become a captain now, and she offers Mariner the position of first officer, which Mariner accepts, but then she pretends to be really bad at it until an actual crisis happens with the USS Rubido, and then she goes into full-on
Mariner mode, let's put it that way.
She goes into Mariner mode, and then Amina confronts her about why she was acting all incompetent And it's basically the same thing that happened in Moist Wrestle, where Mariner says that why does everybody, want me to rank up and do this and do that? Why can't I just be a great ensign? And like, I still have a lot of stuff to figure out, so I don't want to promote myself or go somewhere, like do something else just yet.
And one thing which really put me under shock, that both of them were in the same class in Starfleet Academy, and one of them is a captain. So now I can't really figure out their ages, like what the hell is going on. She's an ensign, so Boim, I'm sure, is a lot junior to her then. And then Mariner's mother is the captain, and then Mariner's classmate is also a captain.
I mean, yeah, that kind of stuff happens. Okay, the basic thing is you can join Starfleet and then become a captain in like 8 years or something. But I think by the 3rd or 4th year, Kirk had become the captain because of, the whole events of the Kelvin timeline. So, it can happen.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, like I think that could also be a result of futuristic environment where age is not a factor at that much. Like at whatever time, if you're good at something, you're just getting promoted and things go on. Age is like inherently in our culture, age is such a big factor, right? Like if you want to be a CEO of a company, like a really big company, you need to be over, let's say, an old person or something like that, and which is changing by the day. So if you are looking at something at 24th, 25th century, I'm sure that the age bracket problem has obviously been resolved. But okay, let's not delve into that. That is not important. So in the A plot we see the equation between Mariner and Amina, and then in the B plot we see how Tendi in her free time created a dog. The dog.
Yes. In her free time, she took a piece of inert carbon and turned it into what she thinks a dog is. And she's like, she hand edited all 6 billion sequences because it was fun.
Yes.
I mean, that's the level of... See, Mariner and Tendi are both such hyper competent people, but Tendi is like more excited, competent, and Mariner is more like, like in the first scene, she says, wake me up if this becomes something I need to care about.
Yeah, like exactly. Like Mariner is good at I could say, the physical combat stuff and thinking on the feet. Tendi is more nerdy, like same with Rutherford. The 2 sequences which I really liked here was like Tendi has, like we know she's a super nerd, and a free time she's recording the entire DNA sequence and creating the dog, and Rutherford on the other hand is trying to just shave off 0.07 seconds of the transporter. So that's just a weird thing, and ultimately it came handy. They could bring back everyone from Ship Rubido. That ultimately panned out.
And the dog was probably the funniest thing in the episode for me. Just the way all the things that it turned into. I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen this movie called The Thing, but that dog was basically the dog from The Thing. But also he could turn into a cube. He could I don't know, his eyes became bats, whatever what was happening.
Yeah, he was ejecting bats, then towards the end he became all godlike. He started flying, he started speaking. I'm like, that is the funniest thing that they could have done.
The best thing was, it was not like, whenever Tendi wasn't noticing the dog was turning into this stuff. It's like at the end we find out that Tendi deliberately coded all these things into him, and because her idea was like, that's what Earth dogs are actually like.
Yeah. And ultimately when an Earth dog really came and licked her, she just went shooed away. So well, apparently she doesn't have a good impression of Earth dogs. Okay, so let's talk about the scenes that we like. So we basically touched upon the plots a bit. So what was your, I would say, or should we go, because there's so many things to discuss, which area should I pick? Let's start with scenes. Yeah, I think scenes would cover everything else.
I guess, because like there were so many scenes, the small scenes that I really liked in this episode. I mean, for example, the thing where when Boimler first of all, Boimler says "boim me up" instead of "beam me up," which is like the most Boimler thing that he could do. He's such a dork. But yeah, so when he goes all phasey and then he just pretends like it's normal and tries to go to work, and that whole scene was hilarious. It's just, he's just on the bridge and it's completely noisy, and Mariner is like, what is happening to you? And he's like, it's normal, it's just phasing, and it's no biggie. And she's like, disagree, it's kind of a biggie. Okay, so when he's finally sent to the Division 14 ship to take them up to this place called the farm.
No, okay, so let's club the references part a bit, because I think that really comes when they go into this NX class ship where they're going to the farm, which is the medical haven for their cure and all of that. So Tendi is with her dog, and then Boimler goes with them. So that's the scene.
Oh, also I really like the fact that Dr. Tahana sent the dog too, because she's a cat.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yes.
The dog.
Yes. But well, the thing was, when we go there, we see so many, I would say, accidents that happen in Starfleet. So one thing, you could point out that, okay, there are accidents which none of us know about and which are kept hidden.
Yeah, if it weren't for like these kinds of accidents, half of Star Trek wouldn't exist. Like
Correct.
half of Star Trek, the show.
Yes, I'm sure. And the accidents shown there. So there was this Ensign Jenna who was
Oh,
paralyzed.
so many references.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to combine, because this scene is just full of references. Ensign Jenna is
Yup.
just Pike, right?
Yeah, it's the same radiation accident that happens with Pike. Spoilers.
That was fun. And then did you see Ellis and Sanderson, like girl and the boy who were just fused together due to a transporter accident?
Yeah.
It reminded me of Tuvix. Do you remember in Voyager?
Oh, yes. Right. I didn't make that connection. There was, though, another Voyager reference. Did you catch that?
Oh yes, Anthony, Janeway Chakotay traveling at warp 10,
Yes.
becoming that primal beings. Yes.
Oh god, what a weird episode that was, but I love that they referenced. I've seen that a lot of Star Trek fandom is very split on that episode. Some people happen to like it, some people hate it, but I absolutely love it, so I really like that they referenced that episode.
And then you could see there's one more character which was not a Star Trek reference, but a Rick and Morty reference. Did you spot that?
Oh, the giant head.
Correct, yep. Okay, and there was one more beautiful, very beautiful reference, if you spotted.
I don't think I did.
Okay, so towards the end, in the A plot, when we see that they're shaving the Rubido because there is an alien which is residing in the ship and it feeds off electricity. And then towards the end, they just decide that it is just roaming around the universe.
Yeah, it turns into a big jellyfish, glowing jellyfish type thing.
Do you remember, I think it was in TNG or TOS, where there was a huge alien in the sky and there was another alien on the planet itself?
Okay, I do not remember this.
This was an episode which I really liked also. It is one of the initial episodes that you could see. Oh, it was TNG only, na? TNG first episode.
Encounter at Farpoint?
Yes. The encounter, that was the alien in the sky, and there was another alien that they're too free.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That would not have been my first connection, but okay. Maybe it was just because I was thinking of space whales when I saw that big creature thing. Yeah, that absolutely looked beautiful. I mean, I really like the fact that, first of all, that the whole metamorphosis of that ship turning into the organism itself, that was absolutely beautifully done. Like the animation in the show, as we say every week. It's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful. And the fact that, you have like Amina and Mariner kind of looking at it and saying that, looking at something like this really reminds you why people would want to go into Starfleet. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like that is something, that is a life-changing sight that I would love to see.
No doubt about that. Okay, so now too much of reminiscing about old Trek. Did you spot any other references?
I have a couple of more references. I think you probably would know it because I have a feeling you won't know it, but you must have seen.
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
Okay, so the guy who's the captain of the Division 14 ship, did you recognize him?
Not really. Like, it was a weird alien. I could not spot. No.
Yeah, so it's a three-handed, three-legged alien,
Yeah.
and he's an Edosian. And Edosians were introduced in the first animated series. Like one of the ensigns at the helm was an Edosian named Arex or something.
Oh, I have not seen the original animated series. That's a tough thing to watch. But yeah, probably I'll have to catch up on that one.
Just watch it.
Yeah, I'll surely watch that one. I have to complete the entire Star Trek. Like, I have to be that guy who has seen every Star Trek visual media that is possible. I cannot read all the books, but at least I'll see everything. So I'll surely catch up on that one.
Yeah, and one thing I really liked about today's episode were both the plots were about, it was a kind of bait and switch where the Mariner plot was Mariner purposefully trying to be incompetent, and then you find out that she actually is competent, and the B plot is you have this whole scary, shady thing going on that maybe Division 14 is like a thing that people, like the Starfleet is trying to cover up, but actually it's just, bad aesthetics. And even the Edosian captain, he admits in the end, that maybe they should like paint the ship some more friendly colors, and definitely the storm did not help them.
Well, that's true. And like that basically brings up to the end of the episode, I would say, where we covered all the scenes and all of that. Chalo, theek hai. Overall, all in all, a good episode. And towards the end, we usually close out with something which we learned from the episode, which basically is the sense of Star Trek. So, what did you find in this episode?
Obviously, what the most obvious thing is Mariner being comfortable with her job and, standing up for her. Maybe she did it in a little shady way, but it was like when she was honest with Amina that she just wanted to be a great ensign for now and she still has stuff to figure out, so she doesn't want to be promoted. And also the fact that Amina was like, when she finally found out the truth, she was like, okay, yeah, like their friendship was strong enough to look past this kind of deceptive thing that Mariner had going on.
Yeah, I think, and that makes quite a bit of sense. It's not necessarily important that, let's say that if you decide to do something and if you don't want to do that, you just don't. If you're comfortable where you at, you be comfortable where you at, and probably you'll become as good, probably a very, very great ensign rather than a okay captain.
Yeah, I mean, it's like even if you're great at doing the captain stuff, if at the time you're not comfortable with doing it, if you're great at something and you're not comfortable with doing it at the moment, then maybe you shouldn't do it. It's not like you have to do it just because everybody is constantly telling you that you should do it.
Absolute sense. And I think from the B plot also, like, we could say, like, initially that they were referencing to the real world scenario when people who are different are usually sidelined. They are not accepted in the society, and that was initially the plot that they were going to they were going for in Lower Decks. But towards the end, when they switched it off, where they offered them such a comfortable area and where they just asked them to be who they are.
And there was also I agreed with Boimler in this episode, where whenever even though he was being a little whiny about it, but whenever he was like, he went to tattle on all the other freaks to Idosian captain, he was like, they were talking about mutiny and the Idosian captain maybe overreacted, but his intention was right, that maybe we should talk this out so that we avoid a mutiny. He went about it in a very Boimler way, but he had a good intention.
Yeah, that's for sure. Usually mutinies are very less common in Star Trek, but then with the onset of DS9 and all of that, I think it became quite often after that. But then you could understand there were civil wars going on. So,
and I mean, I understand Boimler's frustration because of the whole mood of that ship and the whole ominous tones, and even the guy who was half old and half young thinking that this is the farm and they're all like, swept under the rug. And Boimler was like, all we need is just a little more information. Let's not jump to mutiny or all this just yet.
Yeah,
I was like, I was on Boimler's side for this episode.
No doubt about that. But chalo, that's what we learn, and it's I think overall a very good episode, and I'm looking forward to more. But till then, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. Thank you, Pushkar. We'll come back again, review the next episode, and see how it goes.
Always.
Till then, this time let's sign off in a different way.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yes. So let's go in 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Boim me up.
Boim me up.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye. We're dorks.
Thank you to all the listeners. I'll catch up with you again soon with someone new and lots of interesting discussions. So, bye.